On Nationwide this evening, in the last of our week of programmes from County Mayo, we meet shepherds and their sheepdogs to learn about their unique relationship keeping their flocks safe. And we explore Ballycroy National Park, a vast and remote wilderness. It's there that evidence has been discovered about how people lived some 5,000 years ago. As they have done for centuries, shepherds have ensured their sheep may safely graze on high in terrain that hasn't changed much through the ages. To do so, they rely on not just a faithful companion, but a working partner, the sheepdog. The wild mountain landscape of counties like Galway and Mayo means the unique bond between a shepherd and a sheepdog is still the most effective way of controlling a flock, often spread over thousands of acres. That's why one young man with an eye on sheep farming as a career has come here to Mayo to learn the intricacies of that relationship. Newport Shepherds is both a tourist attraction for visitors and a shepherd's academy for people like Sean Joyce.
Back home we have a farm, and Dad has this great dog. His name is Max. And I kind of wanted to be able to train my own dog so I could work my own dog for when I have my own farm. I love dogs, and just the idea to be able to work them, it's just, yeah. In the beginning, it was pretty hard to get the hang of it, but then once I did, it was fine. Come by. Lie down. Come by.
Shepherds share a language with their dogs. Come by can mean turn left, stand, wait, steady are all other clear commands. When the dog hears the words, that'll do, it knows its work is done and it's time to stop.
Roxy, that'll do.
It's a language that has ensured the dog's genetic stealth is even more finely tuned.
Dad didn't think he was the best because, well, he didn't know the come by command. He just done away and point in the direction.
Scientists now believe sheepdogs are programmed to work on two simple principles: herding the sheep together by closing gaps between the sheep, and then, having closed that gap, driving the sheep forward. Sean is already learning about the qualities that make a good working dog.
I think a good sheepdog is a dog that knows the commands or the instructions, and a dog that isn't too sticky, like too tight around them, or too loose, so they're not too far away.
What makes a good shepherd?
A good shepherd is someone who knows the difference between a good dog and a bad dog.
Sean's family are happy to see his interest in working dogs develop.
Our older dog is now fully retired, and so Sean has a young pup for himself, and he wants to train her himself, and he in time wants to go dog trialing with her. So he wants to learn from people that are experienced in that area. We would have a hill farm and we would only use dogs on the hill, sheep really. So for trialing, he's coming here to people that are more than capable of training him and the dog, hopefully in time. Attention to detail is incredibly important in that area. So that's why I wouldn't have any experience in trialing. And so coming here with Paul, he's started to really get to terms with the whole idea and the concept of it and getting the commands right and that.
For farmers like the Joyces, a good working dog is an invaluable partner.
A dog is number one, a companion and around the house and that, and a very good family pet, but an incredibly important tool. I have no piece of equipment or machinery in our farm that's more important than the dog. You cannot have hill sheep without a very good dog.
Newport sheep farmer Alan Moran and Chilean dog trainer Paul Walker set up their business last year. Newport Shepherds is now a popular place for people to visit and see how sheepdogs learn to work with their flock.
It's very rewarding to share our life, and like I see ourselves as being very lucky to live where we are and work with dogs and work with nature and people and to share our experiences. I think it's very rewarding for us.
Grew up in the town in Newport, and followed Alan out here to the countryside.
Childhood sweetheart.
Yes. Do you know what? I wouldn't change it because we're having people coming constantly here to the house, and for the kids to see other people and to see what their dad does and what he loves, they love it. You know, as we just say here, the door is always open. There's always people coming. It can be stressful if we're getting ready to go out the door or in the Jeep and driving down the driveway and people call to see Alan because they'd have been working Monday to Friday. Their weekends are off, so they call here. But it comes part and parcel with it all, and it's wonderful for the children to get out, the school children, because a lot of them mightn't have seen, you know, the working dog, sheep, even puppies, or even held, you know, puppies or even touched sheep. So it's a brilliant addition that they can do that for the schools now.
Lauren Kerrins is a local farmer. She's also come to Newport Shepherds to learn to work with her crossbreed dog, Skylar.
She's a Huntaway crossed with a collie. So Huntaways are a New Zealand dog. They're built for herding in massive stations. She covers so much ground. She's a very elegant runner. And they work a lot using their voice as well, pros and cons, but just different to the collie. I like her. She's unusual, very loyal, very obedient, and just a natural with the sheep.
And very clever too.
Very, very intelligent. She's more than a pet. She is our colleague. She is our sidekick. She comes everywhere with us on the farm, and she's going to be very useful for us. She loves coming here. She knows the minute we hop in the Jeep that this is where we're coming, and she's very impatient. I often get the chance to run some of the other dogs because I'm a beginner as well, and she doesn't like to wait her turn. She's very keen to go. She's only started her training. We've only been to a couple of sessions, but it's just great to see the progress. She's a quick learner, and I'm just about keeping up with her.
These are a little bit young. They're only 3 weeks, but they will be superstars one day. Tess is the best bitch from Paul, and she's bred with the best dog from Alan, Sweep.
Will you find it hard to say goodbye to them?
Yeah, you can become very attached to puppies, right? They're great therapy, you know. If you're feeling any way down, spend a few moments with a puppy and you're feeling much more relaxed.
These mountains provide thousands of acres of common grazing, as they have done for centuries.
And nothing has changed at that line. You're not going to do anything with the landscape up here, and you're not going to do anything without a good dog with you. And it's amazing with all the technology and everything that's going, drones, bikes, quads, but nothing can replace the dog. You cannot travel. There's no other accessibility to here without a dog.
Paul Walker found his way to Mayo from the Andes in Chile through a love of working with animals.
I came here to work with horses. I'm officially a horse trainer. I always felt very, very attracted to dogs because I find the relationship of trust and respect that you create with a dog is much more demanding than the one you create with a horse. That's my opinion. So
why is that?
Because with a horse, you train him with different methods of training, more or less stress, but it's always man with beast. Man is over beast. But with the dog, when you have the dog working at 400 meters, he has to understand and he has to obey your command. He has to trust you and he has to respect you. So developing that relationship, according to me, is much more difficult and demanding on your part than the one that you can create with a horse.
If anyone knows the qualities required for a dog to fulfill a working role that requires such stamina and cunning, these men do.
Personally, I like the good temperament. I like them to be friendly. I like them to have a good feel for sheep, natural ability. That's inherited, and well, stamina and looks, if you can. But mostly is good temperament and good feel for sheep.
Same for you, Alan?
Very same, yeah. Those things, power, stamina, and the temperament. So there's nothing more rewarding than going and picking a young pup or buying a young pup, rearing him yourself, and seeing him grow and develop, and then turn him into a useful working dog. I can't think of anything more rewarding.
They believe, however, that dogs like these are not suitable as domestic pets.
A work dog has to be bred to work, and you have to have an active lifestyle, and you have to treat him with respect. You know, having a work dog that is highly driven for work, locked up in a kennel or locked up in a small yard is cruelty. So we really emphasize that a work dog has to have physical activity, a good food, a good handling, has to have boundaries in their mind. If not, they can turn out to be problems. And what we receive is product of many generations of selection done by farmers, so we respect them.
Did you ever look at a good dog and wonder, was he or she more intelligent than you were?
Yeah, we do.
It's something that's just built in. It cannot be taught. It's pre-programmed there through centuries of selective breeding.
Voice commands is when the dog is nearby and he can hear you. And the whistle is an instrument to make contact with the dog when he's far away and
So it carries further.
It could be wind or it could be distance.
Alan Moran is a fifth-generation sheep farmer, still facing many of the same challenges as his forebears. The wool from his sheep is, however, no longer of much value.
It's tough, especially when you're trying to make a living on the type of land that we have here. As you can see, it's marginal, it's hilly, it's not very versatile, so it's tough. It could be 400 kilos of wool there. If it meant 50 euros, it'd be about it.
So wool is worthless.
It's worthless, really. No, yeah. The only reason we're taking it off is for the welfare of the animals. You know, it has to be taken off yearly to stop the sheep getting different sort of illnesses.
And can any use be made of this wool?
They're badly trying to find a market for it now. I've heard of that they're trying to use it for insulation in houses and stuff like that. But this wool is a lot more coarse than the lowland sheep. Now, the lowland wool is worth more than this.
The most common sheep in this area are blackface sheep, originally from Scotland, as are border collie sheepdogs. Hardy and suitable for mountain conditions, both have adapted to their challenging environment.
Well, to be able to survive we're right on the edge of Europe here, and we're getting the first rattle of the Atlantic, all sorts of weather, and they can survive in areas, and not only survive, but they can thrive in areas where other sheep just wouldn't be able to live. The survival rate is actually very, very high, bar now maybe going into a hole in springtime when they're a bit weak and they're carrying lambs in springtime. They're under that extra bit of pressure, and if they come across a flood or a soft spot, a few can maybe get caught, but as a rule they're agile and they're able to spring across these wet places, and they're great sheep to forage. They'll just even 2 or 3 foot of snow wouldn't bother them.
Well, with a population of over 4 million sheep in this country, it's unlikely those sheepdogs will be short of work anytime soon. Join us in part 2 when we'll discover what's